Hello everyone, Jason Leia back here again. Merry Christmas to all of you. I hope you all are having a wonderful holidays. And I figured for my review channel for this year, I would talk about a few Christmas movies that I enjoy. Now this year, there are going to be Christmas movies that I've seen plenty of times before that I already have like a concrete opinion on, that my opinions haven't much changed on. But this one in particular did kind of change over time, and that is the Polar Express. Back in my elementary school days, my classes would do like a thing around Christmas time where we could go into school with our pajamas on. We have hot chocolate. We get to have 1 hour sleep in class, which was very fun. But also, either in the classroom or in the lunch area when it's clean, we would watch the Polar Express. And we would also read the book that they have. And it was one of my favorite days to look forward to during my elementary school years. So many good memories with my friends back then. Some who I still know today. It was just a wonderful time. I had like the 3D DVD, if any of you guys remember that. Though I don't have it anymore, I replaced it with the Blu-ray. I still, for the most part, enjoy this movie. While I do see some of the problems in the filmmaking sense as an adult who likes to study movies, I can still look back at this film and appreciate for what it's trying to do, and it's still enjoyable enough in that nostalgia factor that I can still put it on and forget about the problems and just have a good time with it. Last night though, I happened to watch it again, and while me and my sister were definitely leaning towards some of the negatives and problems that it had, like the amount of times it plays the theme song or the uncanny CGI that they use for the animation, it is still, for the most part, in my opinion, an enjoyable movie, as it starts to become a little bit insane, especially when you compare it to that of the book, where it's a pretty simple story, not much goes on, but this movie has a lot of padding, which some people in the anime community will call filler, where it doesn't really happen in the book. Like, there's this whole segment in the middle of the film where this golden ticket, not Wonka's golden ticket, the Polar Express golden ticket, is flying through the air because one of our main characters, the main character, who doesn't have a name in the movie, was trying to give it back to the girl, but the wind blew it out of his hand. And then we just follow this ticket, go into the woods, lay down, but then gets blown away due to the wind made by the wolves running, and then that ticket gets caught by an eagle who gives it to her chick, and then the chick spits it out because it was disgusting. Then it turns into a snowball, and then it hits the train. It hits a rock, and then it hits the train, and then it goes inside the train and back to where it was. It was, I don't know what the point of that scene was, but it was something. There were like a few shots in that from the book that I recognized, so I think the director, Robert Zemeckis, wanted to incorporate some of those shots in this movie somehow. But I think this movie, realistically, if it were to be made today, I think it would have been better if it was done much shorter, to cut out some of that fat and have the story go on, because that is one of those instances where the story, you could tell, is really dragging. The story is about a boy who goes into this magical train to the North Pole with some of his friends, but he doesn't really believe in Christmas or Santa and is very skeptical about it. And this movie is his journey to discover that and discover his belief in the holiday, and whether or not he chooses to believe in Santa or not is up to him, and how that affects his life. It is a movie that has heartwarming messages about belief, staying true to yourself, and for the most part, it hits those themes very well, and those character beats for the most part fine. Billy, who's the only kid with a name, or the only character at all, apart from Santa, obviously, with a name in this movie, and the little girl and the boy with the blue pajamas. They're all good. The actors are doing a good job, and for the most part, the animation, at least with the background and motion effects, it looks good. But with the faces, it's so uncanny, and when you notice that, you can't unnotice it. I really think the technology was not up to par at the time. It is actually fine for the most part. It did not really disgust me, or it looked absolutely awful. The movie has plenty of color, and because it takes place mostly at night, the faces and shadows and everything, all of it doesn't look that bad. But I could definitely tell when the characters are in the light. Man, that animation did not age well at all, and it's shown itself as years go on. And as for the music, it is, again, as I said, very repetitive. They use the main theme so many times that I don't know what the rest of the soundtrack sounds like, which is one of the biggest negatives I have. Like, when you make a movie, you should be able to have like various themes, especially with a movie with a budget and director and actor like this. There should have been more themes going on throughout the rest of the film, and use the main theme very sparingly. Now, I know it sounds like I don't like the movie. I'm speaking a lot of negatives about it and how I think it could improve. But that's because I've seen this movie so many times, especially as an adult, and I could definitely agree with some of the negatives that people have. But I just want to, get those out of the way so it doesn't feel like I'm being biased. I feel like, especially around this time of year, we have to try and be honest with ourselves, and even movies that we do appreciate, we can still look back and notice that they're not perfect. Like my favorite movie, Jurassic Park. I love that movie, but I could definitely say the negatives that it has, like the amount of continuity errors, which is my only major negative of that movie. But I'm still willing to admit that even that has some problems. No movie is perfect, especially not any Christmas movie. But what this movie does have is a lot of heart and good intentions. Sure, the director seems to overdo himself whenever it comes to showing off the new animation style and trying to expand the story, but the set pieces are really fun. I really like the part where the characters go to the North Pole, but the three kids accidentally get lost in the North Pole and they're trying to find their way back, and Billy starts to learn a little bit more stuff about himself and how Santa sees him and how the characters interact with him and how this is sort of forming their bond with each other. I really like that part of the film. It was very fun. There's a lot of stuff going on that are interesting, and looking at the North Pole and how it works. But it's also really fun to watch. The scale and spectacle of everything is just great. Robert Zemeckis really did a good job with that part of the film. Tom Hanks is really good as these multiple characters that he's playing, like the father, or the train conductor, or the hermit on top of the train, or Santa Claus. He does all those performances very well. They all felt very distinct. Even though you could tell it's Tom Hanks performing it, it is still very much so evident that he's putting a lot of effort into these performances, help them feel distinguished from each other, and that you could tell that they feel like different people. And the way they talk, the way they move, they all feel very different from one another, and you don't think that Tom Hanks is just playing the same guy. It really does feel like multiple performances, but that's what you could expect from such a talented actor like Tom Hanks. He's very versatile, and I believe that this movie is a showcase of that. Overall, there is still plenty to enjoy about the Polar Express. If you watched it as a kid, like I did many times, you're probably not going to like it as much when you grow older, but I could definitely still see this movie being very nostalgic and still appealing to some people. If you're more of a recent watcher of this, I don't know how you'll feel about this. I can understand if you don't like it due to the uncanny nature of it all, but there's still a lot of Christmas spirit and warmth with this film, with good messages, fun enough characters that really should have gotten names, so this review could have been a little bit easier. The performances, as I said, are really good. The animation, when it's not the people in the light, is for the most part very good, especially the backgrounds and whole style and design of this entire movie I found very appealing. Overall, I still say that this is one of the more enjoyable Christmas movies. It's certainly not one of the best, it's not top tier, but for me it's a very nostalgic, warm-hearted film that I could definitely still watch every Christmas year and not get tired of it. I'm going to give the Polar Express a B-. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys next time, and Merry Christmas.